All right, all right, all right, all right. Una good afternoon, fellow Ambazonians. I salute all una for this beautiful day. Happy Country Sunday for all man. I hope say una day fine. And in fact, today I don't come na for can give una an update of wetin the Ambazonian people them. They don't show la Republique du Cameroon. First, I want to start by thanking our population for their patriotism, for their belief for their independence, for their belief for their freedom, for their belief for the future of Ambazonia, for their belief for the Ambazonian dream. I want to thank the Ambazonian people then for their commitment for this freedom for our people then. I want to thank our people then for Ground Zero, for the big celebrations then, where they put them across the 13 states, across for every village, every town, every city. The Ambazonian people them in their millions, they observe, celebrate, and dance for celebrate their Independence Day. I want to thank the forces across the 13 states for the community mobilization, for bring our communities them together and for create a safe environment where our people the fit celebrate the joy of their country and celebrate who they be as Ambazonians. I want to thank all the generals and all the commanders them for the great Independence Day parade where they put them across the 13 states. We thank una plenty. Una place day, una cafe day. For all our Ambazonia community school picking them, we want to wanna say we love una, we appreciate una, we thank una plenty for the playfulness, for the joy, for see una with una nice uniforms, for una for celebrate una Independence Day and for celebrate the joy of being school picking them and for celebrate our own future. Wetin the Ambazonian people they don't demonstrate them on Saturday for October 1. Since this generation rise up for defend the independence, we were big papa them, they be don't declare them, they reaffirm them, and they reassert them. They woke up for defend that independence. From 2016 to today, after 5 years, the Ambazonian people wetin will show La République du Cameroun. The Cameroon colonial government, Paul Biya, he don't admit say Cameroon don't lost the war for Ambazonia. Dion Ngute, Paul Biya a master propagandist. He don't admit say Cameroon don't lost the war for Ambazonia. It became very clear for Paul Biya say the way the Ambazonian people they show up, the way the forces they show up, Biya nothing make the same mistakes again. For go lie to the international community say now a few separatists and a few terrorists where the Cameroon military fight them. It don't be, as they talk it don't be abundantly clear to Cameroon, to the international community, say the Cameroon government don't lost the war. Biya be so shameful on Saturday, where as with the year, poor Biya almost get a heart attack. As the video that they come out, more and more video that they come out, the Cameroon colonial general, Buba, the new one with the sending for Ambazonia, there is no way where it be fit for good justify for poor Biya. How all these Ambazonian soldiers, they be able for mobilize communities and put such a display of power on the ground. And the Cameroon military, the Cameroon army, the Cameroon B, the Cameroon police, the Cameroon gendarme, they be nowhere to be found. As they talk them, they were nowhere to be found. They don't go hide. Biya woke up for Sunday morning. He get a meeting with the top generals them. Nobody be fit for answer Biya a question them about what they really go on for Ambazonia. From the intelligence who they get them, Biya carry hand put them for head. Dion Ngute run go hide. A mob lock for talk for that meeting. Buba no fit talk. The shame over plenty for Cameroon. The disgrace over plenty. Now the generation this will be what people be promised for Biya. So we'll go humiliate, we'll go disgrace. The war we declare them on our people them, we'll go teach them a lesson for Ambazonia. This Independence Day, now the finest our people don't ever put up. Now the finest Independence Day, what you see them, we see Ambazonian forces. They don't become more stronger, more organized, more equipped. They don't become professionals. We see the caliber, the strength, the power of Ambazonian forces. We see forces from their professionalism, from the way they be organized, the way they conduct themselves. You know, say they state this. You know, say now an army, it already be formed. You know, say that people this, where they don't take control. That's until we all we get for take pride. The turnout from the population to the professionalism of the forces to the organization. That's until we every single Ambazonia, where you call yourself an Ambazonia, where you believe for the independence, the freedom, and the sovereignty of Ambazonia. That's until we you and all of we will get for take pride. Ambazonian defeat of Cameroon. That's until we all we get for take pride. That's until we all we get for honor them. That's until we all we get for celebrate them. That's until we all we will get for feel good about it. That's until we all we get for feel so proud of what we accomplish as a people. The defeat of Cameroon be real. There is no other way where if he show say Ambazonia don't defeat Cameroon, then what will put them up than the celebration of this Independence Day. The turnout of population, millions of Ambazonians were school picking them. Their beautiful uniforms, were forces, the way they organize themselves, their uniform, their power of their guns, the number of forces where Ambazonian different defense groups them, they show them the power of their guns, the size of their army them. That's something where every Ambazonian they need to take pride on. And that's something we don't the hope for, we don't the want, we don't the expect. Every single Ambazonian movement, Ambazonian leader, now the thing this way get for the focus on the success on the ground. That's something where leaders, movement, activists, they need for the focus on and they need for promote them. The defeat of Cameroon, that's something where all we need for celebrate them. The way we were forces, the mobilized community, now a sign of the emergence of the Ambazonian state. Now a sign of say what people don't reclaim that sovereignty. Now a sign. That's something we expect every Ambazonian activist, every Ambazonian leader, every Ambazonian movement. That's something they need for focused on, for elevate what people and project Ambazonia to the international community. The state don't come. Ambazonia don't rise. The state already emerged. What you wanna see for October 1? That the state that it don't emerged. It don't come. Cameroon is gone. Poor Biya is gone. Dion Ngute is gone. The Cameroon occupational system is gone. Which they talk am? Dion Ngute say Ambazonia na fantasy. Not be so Dion Ngute talk am for Equinox the other day. He say Ambazonia na fantasy. I want to ask Dion Ngute again. Why you not can make that statement again yesterday on Saturday? Why you not come out for inside the meeting we get our Biya? Why you not make that statement again say Ambazonia na fantasy? The army, the military, the forces we see them. Na fantasy? Fantasy na ya delusion. Fantasy na ya delusion. Because you, Dion Ngute, you don't give order. You say no person no come up for inside Ambazonia. Make people do not gather. Make people not go on the street. Una colonial administrators them. They send out communiques. They say, hey, if they catch any person where they gather 2 or 3 together, una draconian laws and they go teach them something. Una give command for gendarmes, for police. Put out information. Little Afrique, put out information. Okala Bilai, put out information. Una ban the circulation of motorbikes. Una ban people them from traveling. Una ban people them from gathering. What happen? Now the opposite. On Saturday, millions of Ambazonians, they take to their communities, take to the streets, take to their squares, and show now who be the real owners of Ambazonia. So fantasy, na Cameroon claim, say it still get any control for Ambazonia. Now the fantasy that. Dion Ngute, fantasy, na the claim, say when I feel right, communicate, when I put an order, say make no man come off outside, then millions of people they come off outside. When I say make no man celebrate Independence Day, and then millions of people they celebrate Independence Day. So now when I live for a fantasy world, when I live for a delusional state, as you don't already tell Biya, when I feel so ashamed right now, you Dion Ngute enough you come off outside, can't repeat the word, say Ambazonia na an imaginary state. What you wanna carry una eye, wanna see them. You say self now you live in shame. Because the shame now then for you. You call Ambazonia an imaginary state. And then the people they show you what to be reality. Fantasy, na your imaginary state, where you think they know they exist. The reality, now what you see for October 1. What you wanna see for October 1. For the millions of Ambazonians where they come off outside, now the reality that. The fantasy, na Cameroon manipulation and propaganda says to get any control from Ambazonia. Because now, we need for start for move all those una colonial administrators them with the sign communique, and the opposite happen. Una need for start for pack una chin and you go. Because that's the reality that as some diplomats they don't tell una not get any other choice. As the international system don't tell Biya not get any other choice. Saturday become more and more clear to the international system. Say Biya don't be defeated for Ambazonia. Dion Ngute not get the power for influence anything. And Ambazonia, they don't become more and more stronger because waiting the international community see them. They be very impressed from the messaging and the news they would get them from international corridors. They be very impressed for what they say about Ambazonia. They be very impressed. That's why the Cameroon Minister of Foreign Affairs, now they don't know what for do. They did run now up and down. They don't know what for do. They be confused by your victory. So, I did call on all una, all the Ambazonian people them. Wait till una don't see them for October 1. Now una country that una don't take them back. Now una country back that una don't take them back. It don't take 5 years for knock Cameroon out and project Ambazonia. The news who would get them within the international corridors be very positive for Ambazonia. Diplomats be so impressed with our forces, with the population. People, their eye don't open. There's no room for Dion Ngute, Biya, their small propaganda. Okala Bilai be disgraced and humiliated. Lele Lafrique be disgraced and humiliated. Achibong be disgraced and humiliated. All the colonial administrators, the Cameroon colonial general for Ambazonia, the new one with the Seni Buba, a bit disgraced and humiliated. So Ambazonians wanna feel proud. Wanna feel proud of what you don't achieve them, what you don't conquer them, and what you don't display them to the world. Wanna feel so proud. Wanna take pride for una victory. That the celebration this. Now, as we focus for consolidate the victory, the goal of leadership now for consolidate this victory and cement the sovereignty of Ambazonia. The objective of the leadership of our liberation struggle now for consolidate this victory and focus every leader, every movement for make sure say we cement the sovereignty of Ambazonia. Wait all we don't see on Saturday. That's something we need for encourage every Ambazonian and encourage every leader. Ma clarify something. Why we don't get all these big victories then? Cameroon, they always find a way for use some Ambazonians for inject some kind small noise. It no go work. For make what people they may not feel the victory, may not feel that sense of victory, may not feel the power of their victory. For cast doubt for some kind thing then. What you wanna see and be real. Wanna see una forces. The way una never ever see them before. Wanna see the projection of power. The way una never ever see them before. Wanna take pride. Any movement where it take the victory of our people them for try for undermine the effort of the soldiers. You do undermine Ambazonia. You do undermine Ambazonia. You know if you undermine the only thing we feel undermine Ambazonia. The only thing where any movement, any leader, if he undermine am na Ambazonia. But wait till October 1 don't teach we. Any leader where get sense, where he still get sense, the victory don't come. Now the time this will need for see the seriousness of leadership for any person we call himself a leader. Any leader we call himself a leader of a movement. Now the time this will need for see real leadership, for focus, for cement the sovereignty, for focus, for say make as all these forces they don't demonstrate them. As all these forces they reject the propaganda by Mark Barretta and Southern Cameroon's International Town Hall for project ghost forces on the ground as a new government, as na saying that then there be the new authority on the ground. Forces don't reject them. The forces they reject that propaganda. They reject that manipulation. Bitakola, be nowhere to be found for celebrating Independence Day or mobilize a community. As we be tell now, the noise go end, the truth go stand. The mafia of the AMF don't be defeated. Mark Barretta and mafia with AMF for create a false narrative on the ground, for empower Cameroon, and so that make the use infiltration for help Dion Ngute make it secure some form of peace. It don't be defeated by all Ambazonian forces. I want to send special thank you to General Ngute, the General of the Marine Forces of Bambalang. I want to send special thank you to General Ngute. Through our persuasive challenge to General Ngute, he answered the call of nationalism. Through our persuasive challenge to General Ngute, this October 1, General Ngute joined other brave generals and commanders and honored the nationalism of Ambazonia. Mobilize thousands of Ambazonians and mobilize its forces for celebrate Ambazonia, celebrate the state, and tell all we openly what he fight for. Now the first time this, with General Ngute celebrate Ambazonia Independence Day, and at the first time this, we see carry the Ambazonian flag. So our public persuasion through that challenge of General Ngute, not before challenge as a general, but for challenge a stand and persuade it, make it demonstrate that power and authority. And when I see him, it will be a very fine display way issue for mobilize the community and project Ambazonia. For that, I want to honor you and I want to thank you. I want to thank Grandpa of Bali for the show where they put her up for Bali, for Project Ambazonia. I want to thank all Ambazonian generals from Manu. Oh! Anyways, from Manu to Meme to Fako, when I don't see generals, they stand up for honor the independence and reject the Mark Barretta, the Mark Barretta propaganda and the AMF propaganda. Bitakola don't go hide. Bitakola go hide. Now I know their intentions. So that's why all the generals, 99.9999% of all the forces and generals on the ground, they honor the Independence Day. They ghost town with the so-called ground zero commanders, where they call them. The population reject them, the forces they reject them. They come off outside and answer the call of nationalism. Answer the call for do the right thing for celebrate the independence. 99.9999% of all Ambazonians, they reject the small propaganda. That's why make we watch this a clip of General PT video so that we honor ye for answering the call of nationalism.
Oh, nak. Oh, nak.
General PT, thank you very much for this Independence Day. We celebrate them with all other generals, all other commanders, all other soldiers, and the population. And when I see the pride of those soldiers then for celebrate, because this celebration be so important. Now what you dey fight for that? You dey fight so that you go get the honor for celebrate the country we dey fight for. And sometimes it be important make forces they take the opportunity for this kind day them for celebrate their own sacrifices where they make them for the state. Because sometimes because of the war and necessarily know the price. If they not celebrate, the person fit fall for 2 days later, 3 days later, 1 month later. The only thing we will remember is we will remember his sacrifices and remember it during this celebration. Because it's at the peak of the experience that for a soldier, for celebrate your own sacrifices and for celebrate the nation where it fight for and the people where it fight for. So these things will be very important for the spirit of the forces. It'll be very important for their psychology. Because when you put them for that environment, for celebrate, you make them feel the overwhelming joy of the whole nation when then they defend them. It be so important for their psychology. It be so important for their souls. It be so important because it hires a soldier, it hires happiness. Now for say the sacrifices where they make them, they be honored, they be appreciated. And so we need to celebrate. It join in with all the honor with the community, the population, the give. So now they carry on blessings for your heart. That's why we want to take this time for thank all our generals and commanders for the victory they don't give way. And I want to call all Ambazonians. Make we focus our energy for consolidate the victory. Make we focus our energy for bring these forces them. For work together. Make we focus our energy as we don't see this spirit of nationalism. We get a duty as dedicated and committed Ambazonians for take this work where these forces they don't work on. For start for bring them together. Imagine, when I just imagine this one. Say forces of General No Pity and forces of the Ambazonia Defense Forces. When I imagine the collaboration and when I feel imagine the impact, we go get on the ground. Because all we got for accept them. These forces, they don't come say they want fight for Ambazonia. Leaders, they must put their propaganda and hate aside and give the ground. These forces them. Not before use forces for do politics. But for encourage these forces them. For get the job done for our nation. We understand. Say people that they fear their sense of significance. The victory and an Ambazonian victory. As Ogana Gitibo don't talk am. While victory fee come for 1 month, make we not live and make it take 10 years. Forces don't show with their willingness for the nation. Now it be up to political leadership for channel their energy, for help these forces them. May they work together so that the goal for cement the sovereignty and create a space where the political leadership they go get a chance for come together, work together, and create the political process for the state. Because at the end, all these forces them, they go come together for form the Ambazonia army. Okay? It no go be a No Pity army or General Efang army. The ADF, the Marines, the Buffaloes, all the other forces them. All them, they will come together at the end. The political leadership, they will create a way where all these forces, they will come together for start the process for set up the Ambazonia army. All. And they will maintain the Marines or forces of Babalang. They will be a unit for within the Ambazonian military. So Kadef go be now the same with Sokadef. Now the same with all other forces them. They go maintain their identity within the fabric of our national army. So I encourage all una. Now the time this and also don't do so much for bring we this far. But the work we there ahead of we, that's sweet work. Now the time for we for focus, for consolidate the gains. Now the time this for we for focus. Imagine say we get more, we put in more materials for secure more specialized forces. How quickly will we take Bamenda? As I tell when I imagine the ADF Special Forces, Akamatsu, and the Special Forces of Marines of Bambalang. When I imagine if those two forces them, they do a joint operation. One day they fit take over Bamenda. Now when I imagine say, we're waiting when I don't see them for Independence Day, the Buffaloes of Bali, their own forces, with the ADF and the Marines of No Pity. When I imagine the kind of mission we carry on, when I imagine how fast we take Biya for 1 day, because it be possible. Now the thing is one make we start for think how we fit consolidate this victory we don't get them and get these forces them may not be used as political tools, but for help them may they focus on the objective. Where the objective on the ground, the current objective on the ground. Now how forget these forces them for work together and dismantle any remnants of Cameroon occupational institution and the occupational terrorists for our land. Me and you get that obligation. All we get that obligation. But any movement, any leader, where it try for instrumentalize forces for their own political power instead of the victory for Ambazonia. As we don't see them again, another new experiment they come. The experiment for Ground Zero commanders don't fail. On October 1, they don't start for create another experiment. But man, leave them. I'll talk about that one tomorrow. My advice for all movements, when I think they may be very clear. No go try for create groups and take forces and way you not train them, you need to arm them, you need to equip them, and you begin to claim say they be your forces on WhatsApp, on Twitter, and on video. These things they never work. Now the time this for activists and movements for forget about experiments. When I don't do enough experiments, Ambazonians are tired of an experiments. Ambazonians the one focus. Force is the one focus. Ground Zero one focus. Not be experiments. Not be manipulation. Not be for move them from left to right. The ground wants focus. The force is the one focus on the liberation. Not be experiments. Not be for when they move them from one name, change their name, change their name. And then begin to confuse them. The ground, this force is the one focus. 1900 the Axcam and 1900 the show we for Independence Day. The ground wants focus. So I encourage all now, as the leader, they mobilize and bring our people then together. I encourage all now for hold the spirit of patriotism, for focus on the objective, focus on La République du Cameroun, but honor the truth, so we'll get internal spoilers. Honor the truth, so we'll get internal spoilers. And if you understand their game, you owe the Ambazonian people them the obligation to expose anything we go derail we. For expose any manipulation. For hijack forces and confuse them. The time this of focus for cement the sovereignty. It be possible. It take will. It take commitment. It take dedication. It take humility. For no say they say, if we feed help for bring these forces on the ground for transparent, honest collaboration, where every stakeholder will still maintain their relevance, but guide the forces them on a common objective. We all will fight them. We go get there faster, quicker, and give what people them what they ask for. And my message is to all now. Cameroon is defeated. It be very clear. You don't need for go make Ngambe for do that one. You don't need for go Judo house. You don't need for some pastor for come put your head for your hand and shout blah 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 blah. You don't need them. Okay? You don't need Pastor Suleiman for can prophesy. Say Cameroon don't be defeated for Ambazonia. You don't. You get eye, you get ear, you get brain. It be visible for everybody. Cameroon is defeated. Cameroon is gone. Paul Biya be humiliated. Buba be humiliated. Little Afrique don't be humiliated. They check how they feel leave Ambazonia. And they are going there now. The international community don't make them very clear to Cameroon. You not feel continue this path anymore. You not feel continue with the lie anymore. The people, they don't rise up. The people, they don't take their country back. I will not feel leave you for continue with the massacres and the destruction. Because you want to maintain a certain lie. Say Cameroon be one and indivisible. It not be one and indivisible. There is Cameroon and there is Ambazonia, or which they call them British Southern Cameroon. Cameroons. There is Cameroon, La République du Cameroun, a state where it get its independence on 1st of January 1960. And there is Ambazonia, where it emerged from the 1st of October 1961. So there's never been one and indivisible Cameroon. Now the fantasy that, now the lie that, now the propaganda that. Now Cameroon knows the truth. For all we Ambazonians, I want to encourage all una be positive, una focus, una energy for mobilize. We need to increase what you don't see on the ground. It be possible if all we focus on the liberation, it will take a shorter time. Political leaders, they go get their time. They need to work out their own political differences, not just the game of politics. At the end, all man go realize and say, see, the collective effort. The game will be now on the ground. Make go help the forces make to liberate the land and create an environment for the political leadership with the international community for help the Ambazonian people them for set up a transitional government on the ground. But waiting, I want make all leaders they know. No person, no leader, no movement. It no go talk say that me, I be do this and therefore na me I must be the president. Ambazonia be an occupied territory. There's no president. And Dr. Cho Ayaba, now the president of Ambazonia Governing Council, not be president of Ambazonia. Ayoktabe Julius, now president of IG1, the group IG1, he not be president of Ambazonia. Samuel Komesako, now president of IG2, not be president of Ambazonia. We not get them for our head straight. We be the vanguard of this liberation. No person not be a president for Ambazonia. Any leader, not a leader of their movement, not be a leader, not be every movement, it get a leader. Sisi Kwa Yoktabe, na a leader of the IG Care, and Yerima, na the vice president of IG Care. They get for move on for their head. Ambazonia no go be some nyama country where some person will just come out say I be president. I be president. Not be the kind state that we go build them. We no go build a political. We no go build a future of political fraud or political manipulation. We as a people at the right time, when the process of liberation not be completed, the international community will use their technical expertise for bring all Ambazonian political leaders them together and create the transition authority based on political compromises. Make all man get this straight. Make all man get this very straight for your head. If you dey out there, you call some person a president of Ambazonia, they a problem. Na a fantasy. Alright? Na a fantasy. The mistakes where the international conspirators they like to create puppets and install them for Ambazonia, for African countries. And then those puppets, they will be answerable to the people the way they create them. For institute corruption and create failed states without accountability, massive embezzlement, massive corruption. We don't already weakness and for Ambazonia liberation. We no go transfer the corruption, embezzlement, all right? We no go transfer those things from failed movements and failed group. We no go transfer those corrupt practices into Ambazonia. And then when I go institute those fraud. Because if movement they never fit for hold themselves accountable, Una just imagine say all these people wey una dey call them people, una just who comes on one day, man just talk say na bad dream. The person na president for your country. Una go poor pass Eritrea because una don already witness am. That's why we must be very careful. When people dey fight, na for create a process where we fit create governance by consent, not be imposed governance, not be imposed leaders, not be imposed presidents. Na governance by consent. The person must win the mandate from the Ambazonian people them for be a prime minister, for be a president, for be a parliamentarian, or for be a councillor. You must win your mandate through the ballot box for free, fair, open elections. There will be no person, no matter who you be, for impose yourself on the Ambazonian people then, through corrupt practices. We don't build a generation of rebels. Any person we do them, it will taste the rebel nature of the Ambazonian people then. You go taste them. Any person where it try for use corrupt practices and manipulation for make himself a government, whether an egg of sea, they go test the rebel nature of this generation. But first, egg of sea not there for that game. Egg of sea game that for secure a transparent political process for give our people them true democracy, because they foundation that. Now the only democratic organization who will get them for liberation. As we already see them. They create the organization through a charter. All the people then where they work within the governing council, they elect them through the charter. As we don't see them, Dr. Ayaba get a mandate for be president of Ambazonia governing council of the organization. He don't use the first 4 years. Now need the number 5 year. So he get 3 more years. A term go end. And he not fit run again as the president of Ambazonia governing council. He not fit. Because everything be based on true democratic principles. And internal, the laws them of the organization. If you not fit honor the laws them of your own organization, how you go honor the laws of a state? So as they talk, charity start begins at home. Now the egg of see that, which will do and for make sure say we build foundations of true democracy, we fit create systems of accountability, because development come through transparency and accountability. So if they give you a project for manager, they make you a minister, they give you a project, the state will hold you accountable for the execution of those projects and for the budget for managing well. Because the goal for public service, the goal for public service or for the effective management of public resources. All right. So ground 01, make all we focus for bring forces together for cement the sovereignty. I think that they ask we, and I think that I want make any discussion with get any person, not leave and make some person give you an excuse as to why they not feel collaborate. Not leave and make any person give you any excuse as to why the forces then when they get control over them, they not feel collaborate. We don't see them for the state of Biya. The Biya warriors, a faction of the Biya warriors, who they call them now AROF, under General Maddock, and the ADF, they do one march pass. They come together for the state of Biya for the first time for our history. 2 different forces would be very antagonistic, very hostile towards one another. We don't help these forces them for find reconciliation and find friendship among themselves through a transparent process of collaboration. And that platform they call them Unity Warriors, between the ADF and the AROF forces them for inside the state of Biya. When I see them, AROF forces and ADF, they come together for celebrating Independence Day and do a march pass together. So if we fit do them, with ADF and Bui warriors. For Bui, we fit do am between the ADF and forces of no pity. We fit do am with ADF. I mean, grandpa of Bali with the ADF, they get a good relationship. Even though when things happen, all will get for criticize and call those things out. They get a really good relationship in terms of collaboration. The only thing we fit help them and for provide effective leadership. General no pity. I don't say you not get better flag, you not get better Ambazonia flag. We go send the forces of the Marines of Bambala, we'll send them better Ambazonian flag. But when I don't try, and for that, we thank you plenty. And my message is for all now. The Ambazonia Governing Council go to make a big announcement following the victory of our on the ground. The Ambazonia Governing Council go to make a big announcement. When I pay attention for the next few days, as when I don't hear the leader talk for United Kingdom for address the British government and address the Ambazonian people for United Kingdom on Saturday. A very big announcement. It come. When I begin to expect Dr. Chua Yaba, the leader of our liberation, for talk for una, but a very big announcement. It come. A big announcement. Waiting I mean say a big announcement. It come. Now good news for una. Una start for expect this big announcement because na big time this. The victory be big. When victory be big, may no say big things only happen. So a big announcement it come in the next few days. All right. If any person get or when I get my phone number, if you get something for ask me, you get something for discuss with me. If you be a leader of another movement and you want look, you manage forces on the ground. I need to talk say ghost forces. You manage verifiable forces who will verify them and investigation are true. And you want build collaboration with your forces. Maybe make will help you collaborate with other forces where they exist in your area, and you know fit if we help now provide the technical expertise for you and those forces them. Make will create what we don't build them for Bui. And I don't see the unity for Bui, and I don't see the collaboration for Bui. That the best we will get them for Ambazonia right now. So we fit duplicate that model across the Ambazonian territory through honesty and transparency, and give these forces a conducive environment where they feel focus on the enemy, all right, while they maintain a protection of a civilian population. So I'll be open for get discussion with una. I'll be open for say we connect leaders with leaders, we connect relevant leaders where they get impact and they get influence, all right. Not be all man be leader. We get for make a distinction between who is a leader. You get for get influence and you get for get impact. All right. But the metrics they will fit do those kind of things. We'll leave that one for later. Tomorrow I will talk now about some very important development on the ground. For now, make una get a blessed evening, and once more, I thank una, mommy and papa them, I thank una plenty. We're picking them, I thank una plenty. We thank una for una belief for una independence. We thank una for una trust for the leadership. Now na time for we for focus, for make sure say we focus for cement, for consolidate this victory and move things to the next level. For make sure say in the next 3 months from now, a different story for Ambazonia. Okay? In the next 3 months from now, a different story for Ambazonia. A different story. The international community, they speak a different language. When a story don't change. When a story don't change. The story of Ambazonia for the international community don't change. Cameroon is defeated. That one are bygones. The story for Ambazonia for the international community don't change. Cameroon is defeated. They know it. We get beautiful work for do for people there. Una be very hopeful. Now all that fit tell una. Una good night. May God bless una.